Not only are we giving them exponentially more money, not only are we lifting sanctions, but now Iran knows that they can close the Strait of Hormuz and bring us.
Iran also knows that we can strike them militarily, which the Obama administration was unwilling to do.
We did strike them militarily.
And we could continue.
You know what they know? They know that they can survive it.
Correct.
Look at you. So you're arguing that the economic situation right now in Iran is somehow better than it was.
I'm saying that they can survive.
But they're fighting a different war.
But that is a
That's the thing. We're fighting a different war than they are. They know that the war here is unpopular.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we've got a panel absolutely going to war over one decision: the move to lift sanctions on Iranian oil for the next 60 days. On one side, you've got a conservative voice trying to defend it as some kind of smart post-war play, and on the other, a sharp liberal panelist who is not buying a word of it. What starts as a debate about a deal turns into a full-on showdown about hypocrisy, military threats, and whether anybody at that table can actually back up what they're saying. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for the back half, because one of these guys completely tangles himself up, and the moment is too good to miss. And while you're here, drop a comment and let me know what part of the world you're tuning in from. I genuinely love seeing where everybody's watching from. All right, let's get into it.
Iran has reneged on every single treaty it's ever signed, by the way. We're seeing now that Hezbollah is still striking Israel from Lebanon because they weren't included in the negotiations. This could dismantle tomorrow, which would give the United States a convenient out from some of these commitments. Like you said, a lot of conservatives are not comfortable with these concessions. But to draw this blanket comparison between this and the Obama deal, it's just not true, because to Jason's point, the war context, this is a post-war framework. We didn't just negotiate a limited nuclear deal. What we did is all of the...
We didn't negotiate a nuclear deal at all.
Well, no, that's going to come down the road. But the JCPOA, it literally put out a commission, facilities with a sunset clause, because as you recall, the JCPOA, 10 to 15 years, that was going to expire.
Okay.
Trump demolished those
that's
facilities.
15 years.
So now that's off the table.
That's 15 years compared to 0 nuclear commitments, just to be clear. That's the actual comparison. But let me just play. This is actually interesting.
Watching these two guys try to turn themselves into pretzels to justify
to be fair,
this,
I mean, neither of them support the MOU. To be fair, neither of them support the MOU, so that's probably why this is
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Right. The missile stockpiles, gone.
But
Obama refused to negotiate. They are mostly gone.
But also, I do want to play this, because I think we should just hear it from Donald Trump's own mouth, what he thinks a good deal actually looks like. Listen.
We've made them a strong country from really a very weak country.
And we took the sanctions off. We got nothing for that.
We've rewarded the world's leading state sponsor of terror with $150 billion, and we received absolutely nothing in return.
It's a one-sided transaction where we're giving back $150 billion to a terrorist state, really the #1 terrorist state.
I would have made a deal not from desperation. I would have doubled and tripled up the sanctions, and I would have made a much better deal.
Okay, so just to lay it out,
the
missiles are not gone. In fact, Trump said that they are entitled to missiles for self-defense. He's looking at a deal that contemplates, first of all, his statement of the facts here are not accurate, but even if they were, his deal would contemplate twice as much in sanctions relief money that goes to Iran. Sanctions relief is happening right now. Iran has done nothing except what is required under current international law, which is to open up the Strait of Hormuz. So even by Trump's own standards, I don't see how this deal measures up.
Well, not only that, it's just they're not going to be able, the conservative position is never going to be able to outrun the reason the deal was torn up in the first place. It's because of inherent jealousy of Barack Obama, since the president is insecure. And he did something that actually moved all of this backwards because of his own level of insecurity and hatred of the president that was before him. And that is... We are never going to be able to. We're never going to be able to get up under that.
But I think a lot of the criticism right now against Donald Trump is driven by the fact that the critics hate him as well, and so they're unwilling to look at this.
There's plenty of Republicans who have been very supportive of Trump, including people like, for example, Senator Roger Wicker, who is half dead, and he woke up from his coma to say this deal sucks. I mean, have you seen him lately? People like Lindsey Graham.
All right.
There is nothing that Donald Trump does that Lindsey Graham doesn't like. and he's been critical of this. People in the, in the right-wing blogosphere who have been very supportive, and I admire that. I admire that they are standing on principle and calling a spade a spade. I mean,
This is the part that should make every single person's head spin. Because watch what's happening here. The same administration that spent years screaming that lifting sanctions was the worst betrayal in American history just quietly lifted sanctions. And we're supposed to clap. You have to understand why this matters. For almost a decade, the entire conservative identity on foreign policy was built on one idea. You never give an inch to Tehran. And the second their own guy does the exact thing they swore was unforgivable, suddenly it's a post-war framework. It's nuance. It's strategy. The goalposts didn't move. They got loaded onto a truck and driven off a cliff. And here's what the liberal panelist nailed cold. She points out the missiles are not gone. She says the president even admitted Iran is entitled to missiles for self-defense. So the one thing they promised, total disarmament, never happened. The mask is off right there. Then she lands the punch that I cannot stop thinking about. She says his statement of the facts is not accurate, and even if it were, his own proposed deal would hand over twice as much in relief money. Sit with that. The guy attacking the old deal as weak is openly pitching something twice as generous. That's not a stronger position. That's the same position wearing a different jersey. And then comes the line that explains everything. The liberal voice says the conservative side can never outrun the real reason the original deal got torn up. And the reason was inherent jealousy of his predecessor. That is the thesis of this whole segment. Not security, not strategy, ego.
not only are we giving them exponentially more money, not only are we lifting sanctions, but now Iran knows that they can close the Strait of Hormuz and bring us.
Iran also knows that we can strike them militarily, which the Obama administration was unwilling to do.
We did strike them already.
And we could continue.
You know what they know? They know that they can survive it.
Correct.
Look at you. So you're arguing that the economic situation right now in Iran is somehow better than it was.
No, I'm saying that they can survive.
But the thing is, they're fighting a different war.
That is a
That's the
piece
thing.
of
That we're
this
fighting a different war than
context
they are. They know that the war here is unpopular. They know here the war is unpopular. They know that people here are looking at gas prices.
That's
they
true.
are willing.
And the elections are 4 months away.
And the election are 4 months. They know all of these things. Those are huge leverage points for them. So they don't care about their own personal suffering.
I was just going to say, I think it's worth pointing out, all of that understood, that all of these proxies of Iran, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, Iran, or Israel and the United States have greatly degraded them. And they were attacking U.S. bases, U.S. soldiers, killing them. We were at war with Iran for a very long time.
When Donald Trump reinstated the sanctions on Iran, he said out of his own mouth he was doing so to deny them the capacity to, what does he say? Deny them the funds they need to advance its bloody agenda, which is basically to fund the very same groups that you just described. Now we're allowing them, we're lifting those sanctions that he reinstated onto them. What do you think that money is going to go? What do you think it's going to do?
I think you're correct that if it does end up in their coffers, in this very limited point, I think if it does go to their coffers, that, it's going to fund the world's biggest sponsor of terror, as it has historically. I don't think this MOU is going to stick. I don't think it is.
So then it's...
So then what's going to happen?
The point is to get to the 60 days and actually get something done. You bring up an important point in all of this.
Deal.
Wait, hold on. You guys are not, just to be clear, you guys are not making the same point. She's saying the MOU is not going to last. You're saying that it will, and that
No,
will
I'm
get
not
to a
saying
deal?
that.
Okay.
No, I'm saying the point of getting the MOU on the table is so you can start these negotiations. It's really what's going to happen in 60 days. And I think we should judge that harshly
And then
if it's a bad deal.
So Iran gives up late.
Well, then that's what we figure out. I mean, that's part of the negotiation.
I'm saying what happens, let's wish cast into the future. What would happen? What is the scenario if we don't get a deal in 60 days?
I could give a
just going back and
recommendation.
bombing?
My recommendation,
We might go back to
the only way to do this is to crush them.
Okay.
What does crush them mean? What does that mean? He already threatened to wipe out their civilization. So what does crush them mean?
No, like if he was withholding military force. Like,
Okay.
frankly,
We're always
if you
withholding
want- if
because
you
we don't want to destroy the world.
really
So
end
what are you
I'm
saying? What are you saying?
I'm
Crush
not
them?
saying he
What is
will,
it-
and I'm not saying.
What does crush them mean to you?
Let her respond.
You respond. You have to referee
Hold on,
here.
one at a time.
I want to know what you mean by that.
Iran was dangling the one piece of leverage it had, which was the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay.
Because we were letting them do that.
Okay.
What do you think it means if we don't let them do that?
So I'm asking you, what do you mean when you said we should crush them? I want to know what that means to you.
And here's the part that blows my mind. The liberal panelist looks across the table and says it flat out. They know that they can survive it. Let me break down why that one sentence is devastating. The entire maximum pressure theory rests on the idea that you can squeeze a country until it folds. But Tehran has been squeezed for decades, and they're still standing. So when she says they can survive it, she's exposing the whole fantasy. You cannot bankrupt a nation into surrender if that nation has already built its entire economy around enduring exactly this. And here's what people don't realize. This isn't new. Go back and look at how sanctions played out historically. The regimes that were supposed to crumble under economic pressure almost never did. The population suffers, the leadership digs in, and the people running the country use the outside pressure as a recruiting tool. Pressure that's meant to weaken a government very often hands that government its best excuse to consolidate. That's the pattern, and the liberal voice clearly sees it. Then she springs the trap, and this is masterful. She brings up that in 2018, when sanctions were reinstated, the stated reason was to deny them the funds needed to advance their agenda. So she turns to the conservative and basically asks, okay, so where does this new money go? And he walks right into it. The conservative panelist says, and I'm not exaggerating, that she's correct. He admits the money is going to fund the world's biggest sponsor of terror. He just torched his own side's policy on camera. By his own logic, the sanctions relief he's defending bankrolls the exact thing he claims to fear, and when he gets pushed on what the alternative even is, he reaches for the tough guy line. He says the way to do this is to crush them. Okay, and that's where this completely falls apart, which we'll get into.
I'm saying technically it means escalate military force.
And to what?
Yeah,
to what end?
maximum
To what
pressure.
end? To what end? Because we've already destroyed their military. So what end?
Let me just ask you
If you
this,
think
Caroline,
2 months
because
from an election,
I don't think this is
I don't
hypothetical.
think it will.
the
I don't think,
appetite.
no, I don't think there is an
Guys, hold on a
appetite.
second. This is not really a super hypothetical situation. The military said at the beginning of this conflict, they had a list of targets. It was, hundreds of targets. They got to nearly the end of that list, and then they stopped bombing. The Strait of Hormuz, the options are we do what we did, which is the blockade, and maybe try to escort ships, or we try to put boots on the ground, take Kharg Island to secure it. Is that what you're saying we would do?
I'm not recommending that. I'm saying that is the only way to actually end this. Because a deal
You
will
did say you
Put
recommending.
boots on the
No,
ground.
I'm saying
to take
there's
Kharg
really no
Island.
in between. There
Well,
really
I need
is
you
no
to
in
get your story
between.
straight, because you first
the
you
other-
did say you were recommending it, and now you're saying you're not. So which one is it?
No, I'm saying if you want to finalize this and basically
Get it
make
out.
it so
Come
that
on, let it come
Iran
on out
is-
your mouth. What?
If you don't want to broker with a terrorist regime anymore, then yes, you have to apply more military
So you are
force.
suggesting it.
I just think.
I'm saying that is, if that's what their
Hold on.
calculus is.
Listen, I just think that it's not helpful to say we got to do more. I mean, what does that really look like? Is it what Trump said, which is taking out their bridges, their infrastructure, their desalination plants, which would be
Which are war crimes.
or
yes.
is it putting boots on the ground? Because which of these bad scenarios do you want?
Listen, I'm telling you that I'm not sure what their thinking is internally. But in the beginning, at the outset of this, they were floating all these options. And I agree, it wasn't a clear
The American people
articulation
don't want
of
any options. The
Exactly.
American people want to
I
get
think
the
that's
hell
where it's
out of
the
there
loss.
to the point that even if we
I
know
agree.
it's a bad
Yes.
deal,
Yeah.
we are happier with a bad deal than we are
And they're-
continuing to be in there
and they're
bombing and
also
putting
asking
people
us to-
at risk.
is improved.
But let's call it a bad
The
deal.
context is not what you got in it for. I mean, they're also asking
context
us.
is much more advantageous to us.
There are some improvements. You're right. There's some improvements. We've degraded their military.
Yes.
The negative, where I said they're stronger, is that now we have enshrined them as the gatekeepers of the Straits of Hormuz. They know that they can take it. They know that it imposes a maximum pressure on us and the rest of the world whenever they want to do it. And that was never the case until now, until they proved it during this war.
Oh, this is the moment the entire argument collapses. He said crush them, and the second somebody asks him to define it, he starts running. Because watch the footwork. He floats taking Kharg Island, putting boots on the ground, escalating force, and then the instant it sounds real, he says, I'm not recommending that. And the liberal panelist refuses to let it slide. She says it perfectly. She says, I need to get your story straight, because first you said you were recommending it, and now you're saying you're not. So which one is it? That is the whole conservative war posture in one exchange. Big words, zero ownership. He wants the applause for sounding strong, without ever having to stand behind what strong actually means. And when she corners him, he finally coughs it up, that if you don't want to broker with them anymore, then yes, you apply more military. Here's what you have to understand, and this is the part nobody on that side wants to say out loud. There is no clean version of more. The liberal panelist spells out the menu for everyone. It's either hitting bridges and infrastructure and water plants, things that would be catastrophic for ordinary civilians, or it's sending American kids into another open-ended ground war. Those are the options behind the tough guy slogan. That's it. And this is why the anti-war position is the only honest one in the room. Because the people pounding the table for escalation never have to look at the bill. They don't picture the civilians without clean water. They don't picture the soldiers who don't come home. They picture a soundbite. She closes with the sharpest observation of the whole thing. She says the real outcome of all this swagger is that we've now enshrined them as the gatekeepers of the strait. They proved they can choke that choke point, and now they know it. And the whole world knows it. So all that bluster didn't make us stronger. It taught the other side exactly how much leverage they actually have. That's the cost of policy built on ego instead of thought. You don't intimidate anyone. You hand them the map to your own pressure points. So what do you guys think of this? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.